Hi Stampers, back again with the final technique to make this Valentine card. Now we're going to be working on the acetate today, or the window sheets. So you're going to start out with a 3.5 by 4 3/4 inch window sheet to use with the 3 3/4 by 5 inch Island Indigo framelit. So I started with the with this awesome stamp, and we're going to use Stays On the acetate. So we're just going to go ahead and ink up the fish here. And acetate is kind of hard to work with because it's clear and it's hard to see, so it's really easy to lose the little buggers. So we're just going to go ahead and stamp that on there. And it's best to walk away and leave it dry. Give yourself a 5-10 minutes to go ahead and let it dry. And then come back and do your coloring. So I'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, so now this should be dry, and let's go ahead and color this in. Now, I like to flip it over and color on the back. That way I don't have to worry about smearing my lines with my markers. And I'm using mostly the Pumpkin Pie and the Daffodil Delight, but I do have a couple of touches of Coastal Cabana and the Cherry Cobbler in here as well. So nothing fancy when you're coloring these, just stay in the lines. And for me sometimes that can be a trick too, but okay, so then we'll take our medium and we'll go ahead and start with our next guy. Whoops, and I actually prefer coloring with the paintbrush end, but that's just a matter of personal preference. So there's our medium Daffodil Delight guy. Now for the big guy with the glasses, I'm going to start with the medium Pumpkin Pie. And you can just keep going over it to get it darker and darker. Depending on how saturated you want it. Okay, and then I'm going to use the light Pumpkin Pie for his glasses. And I don't want that real dark, so I'm just going to go over that once. I'm going to go back and fill in his dots with the dark Pumpkin Pie here. And I'm going to leave the ones on his glasses because they're air bubbles, or at least that's what I'm calling them. Now I've just got these last two to finish up here. And then I'm going to give the little girl a pink bow, and she's holding some Valentines, so I'm going to make those pink. And we're going to give the little boy with his hat a little Coastal Cabana hat. And then I'm going to go back and do the hearts and the bubbles in some light Cherry Cobbler to give it more of a Valentine mood. And then you do want to remember when you're working with the window sheets and the Blendabilities or the Stays On markers, you do want to give them a little bit of time to dry before you start gluing them down. And now you can see I actually had this one, I think, a little bit darker. I probably went back a little bit more on it. The more layers you put on, the darker it'll get. So then we're going to assemble our card, we're going to take our layers, and I have a Coastal Cabana card base here. And we're just going to go ahead and I'm going to adhere my bokeh background. And then for my window sheet, when I put this on, I really like This is actually not a Stampin' Up! Product. It's a 3M product, but this works really good for making your edges, because you can just go ahead and cut some skinny strips out of here. Now you can also use your edges from your dimensionals. You know, never ever throw away anything, right? So you can take those edges and use from your dimensionals too. Now I'm just going to lay my window sheet down here and then line up my strips on top of it. And then, you know, they don't have to be very wide, it's just that they have to be long. And the dimensionals are kind of putsy for this, unless you're using, of course, the edges of the dimensional sheets, which, like I said, never ever throw them away, because you can always find uses for them like this. Okay, I have to cut a little bit off the end of this one. Cut off enough? Probably not. Now, the other thing that you can do when you make a card, you know, the window sheets like this, is that you can put some sequins or some little punch outs in it and make it a shaker card.